Hi, Maria.
Hi,
Hi,
Cindy.
Sid.
Thanks for having me.
I am I'm so excited and I feel so thrilled. And my guess is chances are everybody that is watching us listening now or some future now moment already knows your name and your face. But in case they don't, I am here with Maria Felipe. How did I do? I did well. And after many successful years, right? In the whole kind of on TV and journalism and all sorts of fun things, you had a slight shift and decided to try to figure out what life was. I'm making this up based on what I know about you, but literally your life took a turn and you found and began to embody A Course in Miracles. How's that? And really discovered the happiness involved in following this path. And just like I see your book behind you, right? This,
Yeah.
um, yeah, just being able to live our happy. And so now you're a motivational speaker and obviously an author and a teacher, and you're using happy to help teach people or show people who they really are. How's that as a bio? Did I do good?
You did great, Cindy. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I was kind of having visuals of my career, especially early on when I was a model and an actress, boxing announcer. I worked for WWF, WWE with the wrestlers, like live TV, like that world. And then now looking, I was always a course student for over 20 years, but formally teaching for about maybe 11 or 12 now. But the whole thing of happiness is something that was just so important for me because I always looked for happiness in the external. It's what I had been taught. I had been taught that my career was everything, my relationship was everything, the outside sources define me, outside stuff completed me. So for me, I feel my passion and my purpose has been to share this message of happiness, but in a way of understanding that it is what we are, like in this moment. It is, and tying it to the conference. I love the title of the conference of the journey of awakening, because awake we're awake right this moment. And the more that we begin to wake up and have these conversations or go to conferences or something that motivates us, that we listen to, we have the memory again. Oh, wait a second, I'm awake. I am in the mind of God. I've never left the mind of God. I am that happiness. That happiness is what they are. It's funny, Cindy, because when I first wrote my book, Live Your Happy, numerous podcasts would ask me, so can you be happy 24/7, 7 days a week? They would ask me that. And I was astonished when I would say, yes, you can. And then I kind of wanted to take it back because I didn't know where I was going with it. And what I got from Spirit was, if fear could be normal in this world of duality, right? Fear is normal. Being happy could be normal. If you would say somebody could be depressed 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, we would believe it, right? So I'm always saying, well, how about opposite day? How about the opposite of that? How about we can be happy 24/7, 7 days a week? What about that belief system? What about that narrative, right? So I started to wake up to this conversation of, wait a second, we have it backwards. Like happiness is our inheritance. And the Course in Miracles lessons, 102 says, I share God's will of happiness for me. God's will for me is happiness, right? Happiness is my function. And that's not a little word, and it's not something to be dismissive of, because it's the truth. And it's that love, right? That love that we are, that happiness that we are, that we're right here. And we're not defined by our stories. We're not defined by the outside world, which is something I was addicted to. We're not defined by the accolades, or if Joe Schmo likes us, Juanito Pepito likes us, whatever life is like. It's like, we are inherently happy right now. We are awake right now, And it's just tuning into that and having that memory again, remembering again within this world of what appears duality, to have that happiness. And one of the key things that's coming to me to share that really helps with that, I always say this to my clients and to my students, and whenever I'm speaking, is just don't make things too real. When you don't make things too real, meaning, when you really make something matter, or just allow the ego to take over your mind and make you believe that this is so important, is to question it with spirit, with the Holy Spirit. Wait a second. And half the time, Cindy, when I really step back and I observe and I'm present, I get the joke. I'm like, oh, I'm falling asleep again. And I call her, Cindy, I don't know what you call your cuckoo brain, but I call her Maria la Loca. When I start to believe that Christian is my problem, when I start to believe that my son is my problem, when I start to believe Joe Schmo is my problem, I just observe myself. And I can actually not get out of my body, but I'm awake to it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually believing that this person is my problem. So I just come back to that awareness, and I allow myself sometimes to be Maria la Loca. It's very loving. It's a loving thing to do, to just allow myself to lose it and then come back to my sanity, because it helps me to become awake, to allow myself to be. It's called grace. It's called, that is what love does. It feels, it allows, instead of, I can't be Maria la Loca. I'm spiritual. I'm a course teacher. Oh, no, I have to have it together. I have to be perfect. I can't be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That's nonsense. On the contrary, those are aspects of me that appears in the world of duality. So let me just be. Let me not judge it. Let me not feel guilty. Let me not feel sinful. Of course, it's teaching us there's no sin. The only sin is the belief that we think we've separated from God. So for me, it's that. It's allowing, it's that grace of allowing yourself. And that's what I'm going to really dive deep into my session about, of really giving ourselves grace, really allowing ourselves to feel, really allowing ourselves to just be a hot mess if we have to be a hot mess, with no judgment. There's just so much here. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can hardly wait. I didn't think that was going to be that long, but it was.
Oh no, I loved it. And for anyone that wants to know, before we hit the go button, Marie was telling me, I'm not 100%. But man, as soon as you start lighting up with this work, you kind of forget that, right? I could feel it. I could just feel the energy, or the happy, or the truth, or whatever, flowing through, and it doesn't matter how the body's feeling in that moment.
It's so true. I literally forgot, and I was like, okay, well, words, it's just the words are given, and the journey is taken, and then everything just falls away. So yeah.
Look at that. I am capable of whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing in the moment. I believe you probably answered this, but I'm going to ask the question anyway, just so people get it. Happy. God's will for me is perfect happiness. I understand that. Is happiness the goal, or the tool, or the path, or the journey to something else? I mean, how do you just define that word, happy?
That's such a powerful question. And what comes to me immediately, and it actually came to me earlier when we talked about it, is that happiness is. It's not somewhere you get to, it's not somewhere you work towards getting, but it's something that with this work and practice, that's why I love the Course in Miracles so much, because when we question our beliefs, when we question what is the truth, when we change and realize that the cause and effect where it is, we wake up to that happiness in the moment. It's like, it's the same thing as awake. That's one of the reasons why I said yes to this conference. It's like, it's the same as being awake. It's happiness is this. Now, Cindy, look at me. Are you looking at me? Right? This is it.
I realized I told you that I was looking at you, but I was muted, so you didn't hear me.
No, but I saw you and I felt you. So this is it. And I'm not making this emotion up. It comes up because of tuning into the moment. It's like, what's happiness? This is it. And then now again. And then here we are again, Cindy. basking in the joy. It's just, it is a state of consciousness, and it's something that is available at every given moment. It's easier for me to do it now because I'm connected to spirit and I'm speaking about truth, about love. So it's hard to get to this emotion and this state when we are believing our negative thoughts, when we're believing the cuckoo voice. It's not impossible, because when we have the tools, we could come back to this state, right? So happiness is not a goal. It's not somewhere we go. It's also not anything of that sort of a journey. It's really what we are. It's what we are when we realize, and I think this is the easiest way to put it, because it's something I can't even put into words, is really the realization that we've never left the mind of God. It's just that light bulb of that understanding. What I believe about myself, or the stories that I've believed about myself or others, isn't true. And when we have that memory back, we are in our happiness and our joy. And the thing is, the good news is it never leaves us. We have the happiness umbrella, and we can leave the umbrella anytime and pretend that this is real, and pretend that I'm a body, that I'm Maria, that Joe Schmo's the problem. My problem is outside. I'm the victim. Blah, 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 blah. I like to manipulate. I like to control. I like to be right. We can do that all day long. Although our happiness is our inheritance, and our happiness is our function. And we are in the mind of God. So the happiness umbrella is always there. So when we're able to wake up to that, we are back where we've never left anyways, right? So for me, it's that understanding that happiness is this moment. Happiness is what we are. And all we need to do is the work, appears to be work, to be able to realize that. Does that make sense? It's very deep and radical and upside down and up and down, but
So, and I've got chills, which always means, for me, chills, take a breath. Allow this question to be formulated from a deeper place. You ready?
I love it. Please bring it. Give it to me. Tell me.
So I know that your heritage is Cuban, and I was just talking to a beautiful friend who was telling me about what was going on in Cuba, and these beautiful people that are trying to get off the island and all those things. I have a beautiful friend that I love that has family members both in the Ukraine and in Russia, and the world is insane. I also have gorgeous people I love that are Palestinian refugees, and my heritage is Jewish, and I have a lot of family members and different people that are in Israel, or a lot. The world is insane, and so many people that are believing these stories are suffering tremendously right now. So my question is, can this work, or how can this work? Help me deal with the world, and perhaps even help the world, if that even makes sense. Even it's the way it came out, because most of the people in that I interact with believe that the world is real. Yeah. So, anything you'd like to say about that?
Yeah, it's a very powerful question. And when you were saying it, a lot of different thoughts were coming. And then there was like this grounding thing I felt in my heart. I was like, whew, okay. All right. There's so much, there's so many colors to that question. Let me see where I begin. And I'll start with what you were saying about, okay, the first thing that comes to me is that sometimes this arrogance of thinking we know it better than God, or wanting to replace God, or thinking we know what's wrong and what's right, right? Instead of just really allowing things to be the way they are. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't, like you asked me the question of how can we change, or how can we help? We help first by going back to our right mind, by going back to our mind of non-judgment. That's the way we help. That's the way that we individually help in our minds, because when we buy into the fear or the guilt, or buy into the suffering, we're just giving it more power. We're giving it more strength. Now, it's very natural to do that because that's what we're taught. We're taught empathy, we're taught people pleasing, we're taught love is sacrifice. So we need to start to get our head around, okay, this non-judgment and saying, I don't know what's the best. Like, I'm filled with wonder. It's kind of like the first lessons of the course. It's like, I don't know what anything means, right? Instead of putting our narrative of this war is right, this is wrong, this person is this is all judgment. It's all separation. And I'm not making light of it. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do anything. I'm not saying it's not valid. I'm actually even not saying it's real. Who am I to say? I don't know anything. The only thing I know is what works for Maria, and how I'm able to help is by coming back to the non-judgment, not being so arrogant that I can do it better than God and I know what's best. Because how do I know what is the best thing? Right? So I go to that non-judgment. And then if we all go to that non-judgment, hold everything in high regard, in an understanding of everything has its perfect purpose. Everything is exactly perfect, even though it appears it's not. Now, this is very upside down thinking again, but it's how we support the function of awakening. And then from there, Cindy, we can come from a place of clarity. What does that mean? Maybe I travel to the country and I help. Maybe I write that email. Maybe I do sign that petition. Maybe I do something to help. Maybe I go to the hospital and visit someone. That's what love does. Love moves. Sometimes people think, oh, if I forgive, then I become complacent. Or if I say the world is not real, I'm just going to sit on my couch and just twiddle my thumbs. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying, come back to that forgiveness, which is what the course is teaching us. Come back to that non-judgment, which is everything. And from there, you have clarity, and you're not running to the country in fear of like, oh my God, people are dying. You're coming to the country in your straightness, in your love, coming to serve, and understanding that ultimately only love is real. And I'm going to serve. I'm going to serve. What does that look like? I don't know, but I'm going to serve. And I'm going to do what I need to do. And I got goosebumps right now just saying that. Does that make sense? It's what came to me. I don't know. I feel like it's just, I don't know.
It was gorgeous. I literally heard choose to do whatever it takes, get in your right mind, feels very happy. And from there, just remember that God knows, and allow God to move through me into whatever the right action is, but not from fear.
Yes. And when we also have the judgment that this is a very upside down world, or some things are going on that are crazy, is also a judgment, and is also making it real. Does that make sense? Now, for me, sometimes you got to say it. I mean, we're in a world of duality. We feel like we're bodies. So sometimes we got to say this world is crazy. Oh my God, like I'll say all kinds of things, but there's an awareness there. There's an awareness there that knows, and I don't want to play God anymore. I don't want to pretend I know everything. I mean, by me saying that I know what is best with this war, by me saying what is the best, I'm not trusting. I'm not trusting God. I'm not trusting that everything has its way. And how am I so arrogant to think that that's wrong? I don't know. It's very kooky wooky. We just left Halloween.
What is it, Maria? Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, Maria has gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and not the cereal. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't have compassion. It doesn't mean that we don't cry. It doesn't mean that we don't pray. It doesn't mean that we don't have empathy. It doesn't mean that we don't call that person. It doesn't mean that all these things. That's part of the humanness. That's part of the way, and it's fine. Although, how can we be of service? For me, what comes is non-judgment, letting God do its thing, and be an instrument by getting my mind aligned. By getting my mind aligned consistently.
Well, it's hard to, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we've been hanging out for 20 minutes, which kind of is mind blowing to me.
Amazing. I can go now. Bye bye.
But I wanted to make sure I reminded everybody that we were here to invite them to click the link that is in the description. And
That's
when
right.
they do, they get to register. And if they choose to come live from November 10th to the 12th, they can attend this amazing conference and spend the Journey of Awakening conference from November 10th through the 12th. They get to spend 90 minutes with you, and they can choose
Different
uh,
teachers.
different
I'm
teachers,
gonna
different
be I'm gonna be
traditions.
talking about Straight to Happiness. I think, yeah, Straight to Happiness, a shortcut to peace and joy. And I'm just gonna show up. I love to just show up in the spontaneity of it and really give the group whatever is most helpful in the moment. Meditation, Q&A, just immersing ourselves in the understanding we've never left the mind of God, really, really getting how perfect you are, really connecting to your true self, really being seen, letting go of that story, coming back to that innocence, all that good stuff. I can't wait.
And if nothing else, from direct experience, I could say just hanging out with you just for a few minutes has activated my happy. So, what better reason do we need?
Yay.
So, anything else you'd like to say before we let people go?
That's it. If you want to know more about my work, you can go to mariafelipe.org, something like that, or com. I think it's .org. Yep, that's it. Thank you
Very
everyone
good.
for allowing
Love
me.
you.
Thank you,
Register
Cindy.
the. Thank you. Bye bye.